Hi everyone, it's Ray with Tarot Living. Thanks for joining me today. So I am going to actually do something a little bit different today. We're actually going to use the O cards, and I've introduced those before, and they're the ones that actually have the various words on them. And I'm also going to use my Whispering Tarot, and the reason I'm using these is just simply because they're small and they're quite colorful and enjoyable. And those are by Elizabeth Hazel. So I'm actually going to go ahead and shuffle and pick the cards and set them up, and I shall be right back. Okay, so this is a tarot card reading for September 21st to the 27th, 2015. Hopefully Chili Bird will be quiet through this. So this particular reading is a two-card reading, and I think I'm actually going to change it up for next week and do something a little bit different. But this week I wanted to use the O cards because I just felt like we needed to be at that stage where we're looking at some words which are on the O cards, and then we're looking at a picture with the tarot cards. And in this particular case, I was very specific about which ones I was picking first and second. And that's going to be important because I'm going to tell you in a moment why. So sometimes when I'm doing a two-card reading, I actually am looking for a pattern between tension, release, or tension and growth, tension and then growth. And in this particular case, I was very specific about picking card number 1 for each one and card number 2 for each one. So in this case, what we've actually got here is we've got release or calm, and then we have something that's creating tension. So what that tells me is as we're moving along, we're actually needing to grow somehow because we actually are forming some level of stability, and then it puts us sort of out of balance in some way. So let's talk about this in more detail. The first card is letting go, and it also has the card Temperance with it. So Temperance is card number 14 in the Major Arcana. Temperance is ruled actually by Sagittarius. We won't get into that in too much detail, but just to say that basically the Temperance card is very much about trying to find balance within oneself. It's really trying to find, to take all of the elements within yourself and within life and trying to really find some level of calm, balance, temperate spirit, obviously, and really having the patience to do so. So it's recognizing that sometimes balance and sometimes finding that right mix of things in our lives takes a period of time. And the letting go almost tells me that we can actually find that balance by letting go of the tension and allowing ourselves to release and allowing ourselves to flow fully in order to find that that more calmer, more peaceful, more balanced way as we go through life. So it's really almost like we're starting the week out, or we're having something this week that is saying, hey, we've been able to let go of something. We've been able to find some level of balance and calm within. And then we go to the second card, and the second card is Depend, and it's the Devil card. And isn't that interesting? So the Devil card, I'm actually painting a tarot deck, and I'm actually probably going to rename that card. So that card, most likely, I'm going to name it Attachment or Temptation, something along those lines. I like to look at the Devil card in terms of attachment. So let's talk about what that means. Really, it sits in the house of Capricorn, first of all. And it really speaks to all of the physical things and the material things and the outside world things that can come along that actually influence us and that end up taking us off of a path of balance, which is interesting. So note that Temperance is 14 and Devil card is 15. So it takes us off that path of balance, and it really puts us in a phase where we are we have things within our life, or we are accepting things or bringing things into our life that are not necessarily particularly healthy or positive or good for us to create, balance and temperance and all of those things. And it's really sending us down a road where we're trying to learn further about our I don't even want to say limitations, but our ability to grab hold of what we need to in order to maintain some level of balance. And sometimes we don't do a very good job of that. So some of the ways that we find that the Devil card comes out is temptations around us that are not necessarily very good for us. Doing things that bind us, physically, whether it be that we're, tempted to go toward, I've heard people even say just addiction of any kind, or, drug, alcohol, sex addiction, anything that takes you out of balance. On a milder level, though, and probably more frequently, it's just really a card that talks about self-imposing limitations because you don't feel like you have control over everything that you need to have control over. And that self-imposed place doesn't allow you to stay within balance. So you've got 14 and you were in balance, and you moved to 15 and we've moved out of balance, okay? So if you add the word depend onto that, I think it's very interesting, because I'm going to probably name that word attachment or temptation. And the word depend just jumps out at me and says it's something that we're finding this week, that we are depending upon the externals that take us out of balance, that we shouldn't be doing, or that we're going to learn through it, but it's something we're going to end up depending on something in a way that's going to take us away from balance. So during the week, I want you to think about, where are you perhaps earlier in the week, or what is something that allows you to let go and feel in balance? What are those elements within your life? Who are the people, what are the situations that allow you to feel, balance and in the flow, I guess you could say. And what are the things that you are depending upon in an unhealthy way that take you out of balance? So that's really the call this week, is to figure out, where do we find the things that are healthy and, create peace and some harmony, and where we have to have patience of adding a little bit of this and a little bit of that to our lives in order to create that, great sense of equilibrium. And where are the areas where we get excessive, where we move out of that level of balance and end up finding ourselves with temptation or attachment to things that are not necessarily the most healthy way for us, okay? Interestingly, I just want to tell you, because if you think about the major arcana as a developmental, progress as you're going along the major arcana. So 14 is the balance state, 15 we've got temptations, and what's 16? The Tower card. So if we continue to move in that direction, then we have something that needs to actually be broken down, or in, some level of destruction, because our pattern is too far gone by then. So we want to be really careful about how we express ourselves in terms of our patterns, and make sure that they're as healthy as they can be, so that we don't end up, in a space where we've moved out of balance so much so. So I think that's really the message for this week. What allows you to feel in balance, and what are the things that you're depending on that are attached to, that take you out of balance? So that's my message for this week. Next week, I believe I'm going to do a 3-card spread of some sort. I'm working on developing that, because for at least 3 or 4 weeks, I'd like to do something a little bit different. So I hope you all have a great week, and we'll chat with you next week. Take care.